Today we're going to be continuing the story of Detective Comics right here at Comicstorian. Batman has been building a team up in the Belfry with Tim Drake, Batwoman, Cassandra Cain, Stephanie, aka Spoiler, and Clayface. Well, a lot of you have always wondered, how did Clayface become a good guy and what's going to happen when he becomes a bad guy? Today we're going to find out. In our last video, we witnessed the return of Tim Drake as he was held captive at the hands of the mysterious Mr. Oz. Tim managed to escape his prison with the help of his future self after taking the Batman mantle, something he wished he never would have to do. But as the future Timothy ran through Gotham, Tim learned something far more dark. That one of the members of the Belfry team that Batman had created would turn against them, and it would be Batwoman. In the wake of the recent events, Gotham City has appointed Michael Atkins as the new mayor. During a press conference, the reporters gather around to ask the question on everyone's mind. What is his view on Batman's secret vigilante army roaming the streets of Gotham? Michael says that he could not ignore the fact that their city at times sees threats that are beyond that of anything ordinary, in which they require extraordinary persons to handle them. However, in the terms of the Batmen acting as a paramilitary group, they do not need it. Gotham City has a police force. It does not need a second. As the news continues to highlight Mayor Atkins' speech, Stephanie, the woman known as Spoiler, visits Anarchy in prison. Stephanie hears the TV and says that it's funny. They were fine with one Batman, even a Robin, but a group? Anarchy tells her that it's nice to think that there's someone out there looking out for them, but a military strike force? That's bigger than any one person. So the people in Gotham have a right to be afraid. It's a healthy response to what's presented before them. But it also makes the people question the status quo, allowing the people to take back the power and wield it for themselves. As Anarchy, he never set out to hurt anyone, just empower them, which is why the first victim told him to seek her out. He saw her potential. Stephanie gets up from the table stating that she should go, but Anarchy stops her, telling her that he's sorry. It's just, if she really engaged in the Victim Syndicate's ideology, she'd join them. The Victim Syndicate was more than 5 people. It was a movement, and it's growing. These are the victims, the individuals that have been hurt in Batman's war on crime. There's more than 5. Anarchy then hands a piece of paper to Stephanie, telling her that in a few weeks, go to this address and see for herself. And after that, she can make a decision. Later that night, Stephanie suits up to go out into the night, telling herself that when she was with everyone, it did feel right. Punching the bad guys in the head, saving the world, it wasn't as simple as just believing in it. It was much harder to maintain. And then there's a knock at the door. Stephanie quietly says that no one should know about this place. And as she opens it up, the voice tells her that he had this whole thing that he was ready to say. He should start off by telling her how much he missed her. It's Tim Drake, and he spoke with Batman regarding the Victim Syndicate. All of it. He's so sorry that he hurt. But tears of joy stream down her cheek as she tells the voice to just shut up and kiss her. She runs out grabbing Tim and kissing him as he tries to go on, apologize that he didn't come to her right away. He's learned so much. He's seen the mistakes. He knows how to improve the Gotham Knights protocol. Stephanie then says that he can finally let it go to an Ivy University like he was supposed to. She's been thinking about it too. They should hang up the capes and find a better way to help people. Tim smiles, telling her, first, he needs to finish what he started, and he wants her help to do it. So how about they go save the world? Weeks go by, and Tim and Kate learn of the meeting of the villains, and they wait for the perfect time to strike. While they sit, Kate says that she has a really bad feeling about this. He hasn't told Stephanie that he's not going back to school, has he? Tim pauses and says that he doesn't want to overwhelm her. And Kate says no, he doesn't want her to yell at him. He's the reason why she's back in the fold. And it's only because she thinks that it's temporary. She thinks they're both going to quit. Take it from her, someone who is usually the crappy partner in a relationship. He's being that crappy partner in a relationship right now. It's obvious that he has no desire to hand over the keys to the Belfry. And soon, she's going to see that as well. How will she handle him wanting to become the next Batman? Tim says that he won't become him. The future version tried to kill her. And maybe instead of denying it all, he can just accept it and shape it. Kate tells him that's great. All she's saying is don't piss off the girlfriend. Now let's get this over with. Meanwhile, over at Mayor Atkins' office, Batman steps out from the curtains and he tells the mayor, "Congratulations, Mayor." Michael Atkins says that he was wondering when he would show up. It's been weeks. He's starting to have hurt feelings. He then pulls out an envelope, and in it are pictures of Clayface, free from Arkham, working with the Belfry. Michael tells him that this whole military thing isn't going to work, and to make matters worse, he has a known murderer and criminal within his ranks. So there's one question that he wants to ask, and he wants an honest answer. When does this end, Batman? Back over in Arkham, Anarchy looks at the window, stating that the city is boiling over. Stephanie was so close to seeing through their lies. As the first victim suited up, he says that it's because the boy returned. She is damaged and has provided them with the ammunition to set everything in motion. Gave them the images to light the fire of fear. Soon, they will stoke that fire, and they will finally learn what it means to be a victim. Later, out in the streets, the team moves into position to stop a speeding truck on the freeway. As Azrael cuts the corner of the back of the truck off, he looks at Luke asking, what does he see in there? Luke flies down telling him that he thinks it looks like a truckload of cyber assassins. Man, is that not the coolest sentence I've ever said in my life? Just then, those assassins spring out of the truck and they begin jumping as Batman and Kate are following closely behind. As they move in, Batman begins to notice something. Their stances. They're moving like different members of their team. Luke scans them and says, yeah, they are. Each of them seems to have footage of the movements of the Belfry members in the past few months. Someone is using a program using the methods of the Batman team. Batman fights off one of the assassins and he goes on stating that Mayor Atkins has images of them as well. Someone is trying to weaponize the very idea of their team. Meanwhile, over at Dr. Victoria October's lab, she speaks to Clayface, telling him that if her calculations are correct, which they are, he will soon once again become Basil Carlo, the movie star handsome actor with total control over his own mind and body, because it will no longer be made out of chemical sludge. Clayface asks, can we just call it clay? Sludge makes me feel dirty. Victoria says that soon he won't have to call it anything. Tomorrow the test batch should be ready, and once that's complete, it should only be a few days until everything is ready to finish this. Clayface says that there's also another like him, an old friend named Glory Griffin. She got hurt real bad and has the same condition as him without any control over it. She deserves to have her life back as well. After all, he was the one that took it from her. Hell, why is she even doing this for him? She's seen how bad he can get, the kind of damage that he's caused. No matter what this cure does, he'll always feel the pain. And even after all of this, what happens if the darkness is still there? What if he's just going to stay a murderous monster? Victoria tells him that he'll know for sure soon, and that kind of knowledge is tremendously powerful. She knows a little something about changing something fundamental in your own body. Before she transitioned, she thought that it might be a cure for everything that she considered wrong with her, but it wasn't. She's still every bit the prickly pear that she was beforehand. There are still nights where she gets lost in doubt and depression, and she knows that those are parts of her, not just a symptom of the body that she was living inside. Later, over in Kate's hideout, Kate looks at the cut that she received and then hears a voice telling her that it looks like she could use a hand. Kate's father, Colonel Jacob Kane of the colony, steps in stating that he was waiting in the next room. It looks like it's going to take a while. He can help stitch her back up. Her father's currently on the run after creating his own military group of Batmen. That story is in the links down below for Detective Comics. Kate leans over the table to allow her father to work and tells him sure. Before she knew that he was running an illegal covert military operation out of Gotham, Jacob tells her yeah. Before he knew that she signed up for the same damn thing but just a different side of the table, the Batman side. He finishes the sutures and tells her, actually, there's another reason I came here. After hearing how my drones attacked you, I expelled my weapons developer Ulysses Armstrong from the colony. But there's something else. He puts a jump drive into a computer and goes on telling her that he got a message the other day, and he would like her to see it herself. The screen lights up and on it, an image of Tim appears, and he says, this message is for Colonel Jacob Kane. I have a proposal for you, a way that we might be able to work together. Jacob stops it and tells her, there's something happening at Gotham. Forces at work much bigger than any of us, and if the boy doesn't stop, someone is going to get hurt. Back in the Belfry, Tim sits at a computer and Stephanie asks what's wrong. Why did she get an emergency request? Tim tells her that he needs to know why she did it. She knows how important all of this is to him, and there's footage of them fighting. After reviewing it, he can pinpoint the exact perspective of the shots taken. It was from her phone. She shouts, excuse me? You're wrong, and it sucks that you didn't just come asking me about it before confronting me. Tim explains that it would match her MO exactly. It was her that told Batman what she would do during the Victim Syndicate attacks. Who else would perfectly frame her? Stephanie tells Tim to pull up her phone's core programming. As the lines of code begin to display, she shows him Money Spider, aka Lonnie, aka Anarchy. Tim asks, what, Lonnie McKinn? Anarchy? What does this have to do with him? And she tells Tim that she's going to go and find out, and he doesn't get to come with her. She's leaving. Tim tells her to wait, leave the Belfry, the team, or him. She turns back from the door, telling him she'll get back to him on that. He sits back down at the computer, hitting the console, shouting, damn it! And then he tells the computer to pull up the feed of Anarchy in Arkham. As the screen changes, he sees that not only is Anarchy's room empty, but the entire cell block is empty. Over in Arkham, Clayface sits with Glory, telling her that he knows that he can't take away what he's done, but there might be something that can make her life a little easier. He's been working with his doctor and she might be able to fix all of this. Glory turns back telling him that that's not what she wants. She doesn't want to go back to the person that she was. She wants people to see him and remember the monster that he is. Suddenly, guards charge into the room, shocking Clayface, and Glory goes on stating that a few minutes ago, every news agency in Gotham received a dossier. Inside it is proof that the wanted criminal Clayface is working with Batman. The people will finally understand what the victim syndicate has been saying from the beginning. Clayface shouts, asking, "Why are you doing this?" And Glory takes a collar and states because she can't stand the idea that he gets to walk free from all of this. The people need to know who he is, and soon they will. Now, later, as everyone gathers in the Belfry, they watch the news as the victim syndicate leaks out information about the team. Tim asks, "I wasn't around the first time, what do they want?" And Batman tells him that they want him to unmask live on television. Give up Batman once and for all. Prevent innocent lives getting caught in the crossfires. Stephanie then says, this is partially her fault. Those were her photos that were getting plastered out there. They were fanatics, and there's a lot more of them than the group thinks. Stephanie changes the images on the screen to show people in the streets protesting and says that after scanning social networks, people are getting angry. They feel out of control and they want to blame something. Valid or not, they are blaming Batman. Hundreds of people are pouring into the streets, all dressed up like the first victim. They're calling this Victim's Day. Anarchy is making this into a movement, and them finding out about Clayface, well, Batman teaming up with a villain, it did the job. They're scared and they want this all to end now. Luke projects a hologram of the city streets stating that they have to shut off some of the security cameras, and going with that, they can get a general idea of where they're at. Tim looks at the projection and says that if they enter from the east and the north wing simultaneously, they can sweep the whole, but a voice talks over him telling him that she has an idea. Kate says that the Colony airship is a mile outside of Gotham Harbor. Why don't they call Colony back in? Kate jumps down and asks Tim, that's what you had in mind, right? Before Tim can say anything, Batman asks what she's talking about, and Tim says that he wanted to explore some options about expanding. He didn't think that. Stephanie shouts, "Are you serious? The Colony tried to kill you!" And Kate tells him that she can't believe that he would consider something so reckless. Tim yells back, telling them he was considering it if they all agreed to abandon all lethal means. But just then Cassandra shouts, "Stop! Clayface needs help! Need help now!" Batman tells everyone, Orphan's right. This discussion can wait. But then, the bat phone lights up. He picks it up telling Jim that they're on the move, but the voice on the other end says that he would like them to listen very carefully. If they are even thinking that they would accept any help from the strike force, they have another thing coming. Batman says, Mayor Atkins. And Michael goes on telling him, if you value your relationship with this office, Batman, then you will come to Arkham alone so that we can solve this together. Afterwards, we'll discuss the disbanding of your team and returning of Clayface to Arkham permanently. He slams his fist on the table, yelling that he knows he's going to do whatever the hell he wants. Just know that there will be some damn consequences. Batman hangs up the phone and Tim says that they had to work against City Hall before. If they just go outside but Batman tells him, that's enough. We'll break into smaller teams and monitor the Victim's Day March. And I will go to Arkham alone. A little while later, Batman pulls up to Arkham, and as he gets out, he sees Jim and he asks, did you really go along with this? And Jim says, it's about the kids, Batman. I know how you feel about the kids. Goes on explaining the situation that there are 130 Arkham staffers that are being held hostage. They claim that they will start releasing the villain, starting with the most dangerous, until he surrenders. Batman tells him, get your men ready. And Jim asks, what are you planning on doing? Batman walks to the gates asking, isn't it obvious? I'm going to walk through the front door and surrender. Just as Batman gets through the gate, Anarchy tells him, hello? As Anarchy starts leading him to the front door, Batman says, I thought you were better than this. Anarchy tells him, it's a bit more complicated and you know it. I've been wanting to fight oppressive systems, and now you created one. You can't see it from the inside, but on the outside, we can see everything. As the front door swings open, the first victim tells Batman, it's been a long time. Batman tells him, I promised that I wouldn't use this unless it was absolutely necessary. I can only use this once every few years if the Joker takes his place over. Batman then calls out, Code Clearance ZEA, and a computer voice responds, Arkham lockdown procedure activated. All of the doors and the windows begin to lock themselves, and Batman puts up his fist telling him, let's get on with it. After a long fight, Batman stands back up, fist covered in the red substance the guards wore over their masks. He takes a deep breath and he tells the computer to deactivate it, and then he radios to Jim to get ready to move in. The first victim sits up from among the pile of bodies laughing. Did you really think that I brought you here to fight? We knew that we couldn't beat you head on! Batman asks, what did you do? And then there's a sudden scream that sounds like Clayface. Just down the hallway, Gloria is thrown from the room and into a wall before falling onto the ground lifeless. Jim storms in with his men, telling everyone to get their hands up now. And Batman tries to tell everyone to get back, but the clay hammer whips out, knocking into several of the guards. And then it starts pulling them back to where Glory was thrown from. A voice then asks, "You wanted Clayface the bad guy? Well, you got him." Bruce then says, "This is exactly what they wanted. You have to fight through this, Clayface. I know you can." Then there's a clink, and as Batman looks down, he sees Clayface's bracelet. It helps him control his emotions. Bounce on the ground, broken. Clayface asks him, "With what? That? I'm sick of feeling bad all the time. Sick of feeling guilty." And Batman tells him, "I won't let you do this." And Clayface towers over him, telling him, "Then you shouldn't have taught me how to fight." And there you have it. Clayface is no longer a member of the team of the Batman, is no longer working in the Belfry, and as sad as that is, we all knew what was going to happen. Next time, we're going to be giving you his new origin, his retconned DC Rebirth origin, and you can check out the entire story of Batman and this team right here on the screen, wherever it is at the moment. Don't forget, subscribe. We really do appreciate everything all of you guys ever do for us, and the ones who have pledged to our Patreon, they are now coming up on the screen. I'll see you next time right here at Comicstorian.